The Amarna letters are an archive, written on clay tablets, primarily consisting of diplomatic correspondence between the Egyptian administration and its representatives in Canaan and Amurru during the New Kingdom. The letters were found in Upper Egypt at Amarna, the modern name for the ancient Egyptian capital of Akhetaten, founded by Pharaoh Akhenaten during the 18th dynasty of Egypt. The Amarna letters are unusual in Egyptological research because they are mostly written in Akkadian cuneiform, the writing system of ancient Mesopotamia, rather than that of ancient Egypt. The known tablets total 382 to 24 tablets had been recovered since the Norwegian Assyriologist Jørgen Alexander Knudtzon's landmark edition of the Amarna letters, El-Amarna-Tafel, published in 2 volumes. The written correspondence spans a period of at most 30 years. The Amarna letters are of great significance for biblical studies as well as Semitic linguistics, since they shed light on the culture and language of the Canaanite peoples in pre-biblical times. The letters, though written in Akkadian, are heavily colored by the mother tongue of the writers, who spoke an early form of Canaanite, the language family which would later evolve into its daughter languages, Hebrew and Phoenician. These Canaanisms provide valuable insights into the proto-stage of those languages several centuries prior to the first actual manifestation. The letters. These letters, comprising cuneiform tablets written primarily in Akkadian, the regional language of diplomacy for this period, were first discovered around 1887 by local Egyptians who secretly dug most of them from the ruined city of Amarna and sold them in the antiquities market. They had originally been stored in an ancient building that archaeologists have since called the Bureau of Correspondence of Pharaoh. Once the location where they were found was determined, the ruins were explored for more. The first archaeologist who successfully recovered more tablets was Flinders Petrie, who in 1891 and 1892 uncovered 21 fragments. Émile Chassenard, then director of the French Institute for Oriental Archaeology in Cairo, acquired 2 more tablets in 1903. Since Knudtzon's edition, some 24 more tablets, or fragments, have been found, either in Egypt, or identified in the collections of various museums. The initial group of letters recovered by local Egyptians have been scattered among museums in Germany, England, Egypt, France, Russia, and the United States. Either 202 or 203 tablets are at the Vorder-Asia-Tischers Museum in Berlin, 99 are at the British Museum in London, 49 or 50 are at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, 7 at the Louvre in Paris, 3 at the Pushkin Museum in Moscow, and 1 in the collection of the Oriental Institute in Chicago. The archive contains a wealth of information about cultures, kingdoms, events and individuals in a period from which few written sources survive. It includes correspondence from Akhenaten's reign, as well as his predecessor Amenhotep III's reign. The tablets consist of over 300 diplomatic letters. The remainder comprise miscellaneous literary and educational materials. These tablets shed much light on Egyptian relations with Babylonia, Assyria, Syria, Canaan, and Elashia, as well as relations with the Mitanni and the Hittites. The letters have been important in establishing both the history and the chronology of the period. Letters from the Babylonian king, Kadashman-Enlil I, anchor the time frame of Akhenaten's reign to the mid-14th century BC. They also contain the first mention of a Near Eastern group known as the Habiru, whose possible connection with the Hebrews, due to the similarity of the words and the geographic location, remains debated. Other rulers involved in the letters include Tushratta of Mitanni, Libayu of Shechem, Abdi Heber of Jerusalem, and the quarrelsome king, Ribhadda, of Byblos, who, in over 58 letters, continuously pleads for Egyptian military help. Specifically, the letters include requests for military help in the north against Hittite invaders, and in the south to fight against the Habiru. Letter summary: Amarna letters are politically arranged in rough counterclockwise fashion. 001-014 Babylonia, 015-016 Assyria, 017-03 Mitanni, 031-032 Arzawa, 033-040 Elashia, 041-044 Hatti, 045-380 plus Syria, Lebanon, Canaan. Amarna letters from Syria, Lebanon, Canaan are distributed roughly. 045-067 Syria, 068-227 Lebanon, 227-380 Canaan. Amarna letters list. Note: many assignments are tentative, spellings vary widely. This is just a guide. Chronology. William L. Moran summarizes the state of the chronology of these tablets as follows. Despite a long history of inquiry, the chronology of the Amarna letters, both relative and absolute, presents many problems, some of bewildering complexity, that still elude definitive solution. Consensus obtains only about what is obvious, certain established facts, and these provide only a broad framework within which many and often quite different reconstructions of the course of events reflected in the Amarna letters are possible and have been defended. The Amarna archive, it is now generally agreed, spans at most about 30 years, perhaps only 15 or so. For the internal evidence, the earliest possible date for this correspondence is the final decade of the reign of Amenhotep III, who ruled from 1388 to 1351 BC, possibly as early as this king's 30th regnal year. The latest date any of these letters were written is the desertion of the city of Amarna, commonly believed to have happened in the second year of the reign of Tutankhamun, later in the same century in 1332 BC. Moran notes that some scholars believe one tablet, each 16, may have been addressed to Tutankhamun's successor I. However, this speculation appears improbable because the Amarna archives were closed by year 2 of Tutankhamun, when this king transferred Egypt's capital from Amarna to Thebes. Quotations and phrases. A small number of the Amarna letters are in the class of poetry. An example is each 153. Each 153, entitled, Ships on Hold, from Abba Milko of Tyre, is a short, 20-line letter. Lines 6 to 8 and 9-11 are parallel phrases, each ending with, "Before the troops of the king, my lord." Both sentences are identical and repetitive, with only the subject statement changing. The entire corpuses of Amarna letters has many standard phrases. It also has some phrases and quotations used only once. Some are parables. Does it not fight back and bite the hand of the man that struck it? Bird in a cage. A bird in a cage. Rib had a subcorpus of letters. Unable to move freely. Closing parenthesis. A brick may move. A brick may move from under its partner. Still I will not move from under the feet of the king, my lord. Used in letters each 266, 292, and 296. Each 292 by Adidanu of Gasru, for the lack of a cultivator. For the lack of a cultivator, my field is like a woman without a husband. Rib had a letter each 75. Hail like the sun. And know that the king is hail like the sun in the sky. For his troops and his chariots in multitude all goes very well. See Inderuta for the short form, see Milkalu for a long form. Also found in each 99, entitled, From the Pharaoh to a Vassal. I looked this way, and I looked. I looked this way, and I looked that way, and there was no light. Then I looked towards the king, my lord, and there was light. each 266 by Tagi, each 296 by Yatiru. May the Lady of Gubla, may the Lady of Gubla grant power to the king, my lord. Varieties of the phrase in the Ribhadda letters: a pot held in pledge, a pot held in pledge, the pot of a debt. Each 292 by Adidanu of Gasru, 7 times and 7 times again, 7 times and 7 times over and over again, 7 times plus 7, each 189. See Itakama of Kadesh. I fall 7 times and 7, on the back and on the stomach. I fall at the feet 7 times and 7 times on the back and on the stomach, each 316 by Pubielu, and used in numerous letters to Pharaoh. See Commissioner Tamasi. When an ant is struck, when an ant is pinched, does it not fight back and bite the hand of the man that struck it? A phrase used by Labayu defending his actions of overtaking cities, each 252. Title: Sparing one's enemies.